Hey everybody, and welcome back to 31 Days of Indie Horror. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got an awesome special guest here who's never been on any of my shows at all, ever. And we've been friends for God knows how long. I think you have been on my radio shows though,
I
right?
I have been on the radio show. Yeah, we this was probably 14 years ago.
Yeah, so it was a long time ago. Was it
Yeah.
before or after I met you? I think it was after I like physically met you, and
I th I think I was on your radio show twice, once before and then once
Oh,
after.
that's right, because I went to your table
Yeah.
to see you, to meet you in
Yep.
person and everything. Okay, that's right. So we knew each other from like MySpace, I think,
Oh
days
yeah.
or something. Yeah.
Man,
And
that's going back days.
yeah, we're going back. And so we know each other for a long time. And this is Shane Michaels. How you doing, Shane?
I'm good. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming. So yeah, so I'm really excited. Shane's a horror filmmaker, so it's always fun to have horror filmmakers review other horror films, just because. And you weren't familiar with the director, right?
I
Eric
I am not,
Eichelberger.
no.
But I saw he had mutual friends on Facebook with a bunch of people I knew. So I was like, oh, and I looked you up and you weren't friends with him. So I was like, oh, okay, so you probably don't know him
No.
personally. Um,
I This is the first time ever watching one of his films, and
Yeah. He's done a
yeah.
few other things, but it looked like he didn't do just filmmaking. He also was what is it? He was the set dresser for the movie King of the Ants, which I think was a
Okay.
Stuart Gordon movie. Yeah, Stuart Gordon movie. He's been a producer. He was an assistant editor for a few things. He's done stuff other than just directing. I think this is his only directing movie. So I think he does
Okay.
other projects and stuff too. Works on other people's projects, but this was his. And um, honestly, for a directorial debut, it was pretty good. Pretty damn good actually. But
Yeah.
um, but you can sort of tell there's moments like it didn't even feel like it was shot on HD. Did you get that too?
I did not know it. Was it shot on HD?
I don't think so. Well, if it was, it didn't to me it didn't feel like it.
Yeah, it
Um
didn't feel like it to me.
and so I think it because from what I understand, like I told you before, I'm friends with the
Yeah.
lead actress and I think they shot this in like 2010. And then it
Okay.
came out in 2000. It says 18, but she said 2020. So,
Okay.
and it was funny because she was like, she thought this was the movie that was going to make her career. Like, this is the thing that was going to help launch her career. And then it
Yeah.
didn't come out until 4 years after she retired from acting, you know?
Oh,
Yeah, I feel bad. It's Jessica Mazo who, she on IMDb it's Jessica O'Brien because of her marriage, but
yeah.
in this movie and everything else before she got married, she had acted in all these movies and whatnot, and she was in the way I discovered her was in a movie called Blood Reservoir, it's an indie horror flick starring like Felissa Rose and stuff like
Okay.
that. And I discovered her and a few other people, and I was like, "Oh my God, there's some really good, talented people in this flick." And so and then I found this, I discovered this, and I just sent you the link to it, right, or whatever. I told
Yeah.
you to watch it on Tubi, and I sent you
Yeah.
like a week ago, and you thought we were doing it like last week, and
Yep.
I think we switched it, and then I guess we got miscommunication.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I watched it. I watched it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks
I
ago.
think you watched it when I first sent it to you
Yep.
and
I
stuff.
watched it when you first sent it to me just to kind of get an idea. Um, I got through it. I liked it. I enjoyed it the second time
A little bit
today
more.
a little bit more.
I think
The
because you
first
know what
time,
you're in for,
correct. I mean,
my
within the first 30 seconds, it's a bathroom scene.
yeah, it's
It's a shower
nudity.
scene.
Yeah,
So
shower
you
scenes.
know what you're getting into.
I know they're not hiding this or anything.
No.
And it's interesting. This is like an LGBTQ movie too, which I don't know
Yep.
if Eric himself is or if he's just an ally to the LGBTQ universe there, but it's like it's interesting because it's not just they don't just have the straight characters who are obviously into each other and stuff. There's also the gay characters in it that
Yep.
are throughout it and whatnot. And uh and interestingly enough that it's the bad guy that sort of is, but it's not like that's not the message, it's not
Yeah.
trying to say that. It just happens to be like that's an LGBTQ villain, which is kind of a cool idea, I guess. I don't know. You don't really see that as much.
No, you don't.
I think people are afraid to have it be that way. Like, because they're afraid they don't want to come across as like they're making it sound like everybody's afraid of the
Yeah.
LGBTQ people. So, um anyway, it was uh I guess let's start talking about the story. I mean, it's an hour and 50 minutes long. Now,
Yes.
I think that's a little too long for this kind of movie.
I
Um
agree.
I don't know what they would cut out.
Um,
Um, what would you cut out?
I mean,
'Cause-
going, I'd probably cut some of the. I mean, I'm all about nudity, but I would probably cut some of that out.
yeah,
And I don't want to. I'm a lot different now than I was 10 years ago. But yeah, I would probably cut out some of. Just cut it down a little. You don't need to eliminate it completely,
right.
but just cut some of the scenes down just a little bit.
Yeah, because I think some of like, especially later on in the movie when they're at that house and everything, and there's just these two sex scenes that are basically going on. One's
Yep.
very sort of silly and somewhat graphicer, than the other one. And then but yeah, I think I just cut it down a little bit, but
Yeah.
I don't know, like because in the beginning it just sets it up like that. And I'm like different too, like in the realm of like I don't need to see, titties every day,
Yep.
all the time like that in these movies because um and I kind of like view a lot of times that people put that in there for two reasons. There's two reasons either they want to just have a throwback to the 80s TNA movies and stuff like that, and that's, I guess that's okay.
Yeah.
I feel like we get enough of those, and then the second one is that they do it because they have nothing else,
Yep.
right? Because like I've read so many reviews of like these horror films that say, "Oh, there's no nudity. If there's at least nudity, this movie might have been okay." Right? And I'm
Yeah.
just like, "Really? That's all you're looking for is nudity in the movies?" Like, I don't know. I'm just getting tired of it because we can find porn on the internet like now,
Cor-
like
correct.
just look up titties on
Yep.
online. But I'm not saying I don't, I won't not like it. I like I don't mind it, when it's
Yep.
there. It's just
Has to have
gratuitous.
a purpose.
Yeah, gratuitous. It just seems kind of just too much. And
Yeah.
so yeah, they could have cut down some of that. Um I also um I don't know. I'm trying to think of what other stuff. I mean, I liked all the characters, different characters that popped up. We had the girls, the reform school girls, or whatever they were. It was a little weird. It was almost like a prison, but not a prison. So I
Yeah.
don't really know what was going on exactly. I've
It was like
never,
an old girls school prison type deal.
yeah, like young girls,
Yeah.
young women. Um, and then the what is it? And then there's the guys,
Yep.
the
The
band,
band.
the band.
Yep.
What was it
The
called?
dude
Like,
who plays the flute.
yeah, what was it called? Um,
Huh?
what was the band called? Like Vampire something, Vampire Godzilla or something like that.
I think, what was it?
Something Godzillas.
I think, yeah, the Vampire Godzilla's maybe.
Yeah, and then there was the what is it? The scientist and his wacky
Yes.
group of people and stuff. And so I don't really know what the plan was. necessarily. Like I think he wanted certain guys to take this drug, and then it would make them into like not I mean it was supposed to make them I guess be attractive to him or attracted to him or something,
Mhm.
or whatever, but it turned in made them zombies, right?
Yep.
Isn't that the plot?
Yeah.
Basically they take this drug, and the two of the bandmates don't take the drug. One, because they were in cookies, they were in Girl
Yep.
Scout cookies, where I guess they couldn't say Thin Mints and was it whatever, so they named them like Thin Clint's or Clint's something. They like tried
Yeah.
to make it where they didn't have the name, and then one was like a something dong, or whatever. And so they try because they get sued probably for
Yeah.
like saying, "Oh, this is a Thin Mint" and everything like that, and
Yep.
uh, Tabble Dong or something like that or whatever. Um, so they end up they end up the two of the bandmates end up eating the cookies, and then getting turned into zombies later. Um, my biggest problem with the movie was I mean, there was no specific time range. Like, wasn't that one girl bit?
Like in what?
She was bit
Like
outside the club, like the bar or whatever. She was attacked, and I thought she was bit, but she
yeah,
never.
and then she came back in the bar and she wasn't bit.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. Like, or no, I think they were leaving. They were trying to leave, and they were going to that house, and then she wasn't ever like it never came back up. So I was a little confused on that.
Yep.
Because I thought she was gonna turn at some point, and she never did. Um, but uh, so they're at that house, and they're all like kind of weirded out about what's going on. So they said, let's get a uh let's get out of here. Let's go. One of them wanted to go to Ruby Tuesdays.
Hmm.
And they kept messing up and calling it like TGI Fridays or whatever. And I guess that was a joke that they're like similar, or whatever. And the guy just wants to go to the store that has all the role playing games and stuff. 'Cause, I mean, that's what a nerd will want to do, right? You know?
Yeah.
And they end up one of the girls gets bit, and they have to kill her. And then another girl gets bit, the girl that's on watch gets bit, and then the other girl tries to like make out with her and shit, the lady who's in charge of everybody, and then she gets attacked and
But
killed.
doesn't she make out with her? Who's the one that makes out? The pregnant one, isn't it? One's pregnant.
Yeah, one's pregnant, and then she has like the fetus come out, and the fetus
Yep.
starts attacking people, which
And
I thought
then
was really weird, you know? But I was like, it kind of reminded me there's a movie made, I don't know, maybe after or around the same time called Zombie Babies. Did you remember that movie coming out? Like uh it
red
was
cover.
I think maybe, I don't know, but it was like I know the guy who made it made movies called like Pork Chops. It was
Okay.
Eamon Hardiman, and he made this movie, and Kaylee Williams was I know you know Kaylee.
Yeah, I
Um
know Kaylee.
yeah, did you work with Kaylee? Have you worked with
I
her
did
yet?
not know.
Okay. Um But so yeah, so it was like zombie babies because but it was like fetus zombie or whatever, zombie fetus.
I I think I'm pretty sure I've seen that movie.
Yeah. It's been out since I think 2011, so maybe it got its idea. I don't know. I mean, so many. See, we were especially in 2010s, they were trying to come up with something that's just different, you know?
Hmm.
I think we still are at that phase where we're just like, we don't want to tell the same story. We don't want to tell a
Yep.
story about, zombie movies are hard to do these days because everything's sort of been done, you know. Um, you gotta make it where it's a zombie fetus now, that's attacking everybody, and everything like that. But they take the zombie fetus and put it down the drain of of the toilet. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, and he's like half in there, like his head sticking out. It's like, "Ah." It's a zombie puppet, obviously. And you're
Yeah.
just like, it's kind of funny. Um, I enjoyed that. Also, I enjoyed the romance stuff between Jessica's character and the other guy, the long hair
The flute
rocker guy.
player?
Is he the flute player? Is he? I
I
know
think
he
he
wasn't
was
he
the
the
flute
singer. He was
player.
the singer though, right?
Yeah, I think the singer was the flute player.
Yeah. So he goes up there and they have like their romantic stuff. They start eating spaghetti and it does like
Yep.
the Lady and the Tramp thing, together. And I thought that was very cute.
Yep.
I was like, I don't think I've ever seen, I don't know if I've ever seen it done in real life, like I only seen it in the Lady and the Tramp cartoons, and
Yep.
stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I haven't seen it in real life.
So I was like, that is neat, That's a cool like little thing to do. Um and then uh what is it? Later the whole thing starts to when everybody gets sort of attacked by these people and everything, and then uh they realize the doctor is in on the whole thing. Like he
Hmm.
did it. He was the cause of all this. So they kill the doctor, you know. Meanwhile, the doctor has this weird like assistant person that he sort of falls in love with or whatever. Like,
That they sing, right?
yes, yes.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
shit was weird. Um, they sing, and then like there's a moment where I it said it was a guy, and it might have been, but they were just like a woman,
I
right?
think so because I think it was a guy dressed up as a woman. Yes.
Yeah. So that character is like so in love with the doctor, and wants the doctor, and the doctor is at first the doctor's only interested in, I guess, guys with like tight pants and all this other,
Hmm.
like very superficial. And then toward the end, he starts to see the true love that other character has for him. But then he dies, like he gets killed by the zombies and stuff, sent by or basically pushed into the zombies by the the main people and stuff. And uh when the person who the assistant finds out, they want to destroy, the two people. But they wait like what, 2 months later after the whole zombie apocalypse, like they're on like an island, like a beach or whatever,
Yep.
and they're making dinner for the people, and of course they use the same recipe or whatever that they put in the drug or whatever. It was just a wacky ass movie. Like I like if
It,
the movie had been a little shorter, I think I would have loved it a lot more.
I agree. If it would have cut off 10 to 15 minutes, I think it would have been perfect. Time,
Yeah,
right.
maybe 20 minutes because I think an hour and a
Yeah.
half is generally good. A lot of people want shorter even for horror,
Yeah.
like B movie horror, because um
72 minutes is like the
yeah,
right.
I think it should be more than that. I think
I
even scary my anthology Scary Story Slumber Party was 75 minutes. I mean, uh
Yeah.
probably the next ones might be over 2 hours because we have a lot of shit. But I hope not. I hope we can cut it down to
Sorry about
and
that.
that's okay. To an hour and a half or something, you know.
I you and I mean, you're an older gentleman like myself, so I'm still a fan of even with movies that I produce now, I'm like, let's keep it 84 minutes. 84 to 86 minutes, I think, is perfect.
Yeah, because I watched these movies and on Tubi for this show, and I hate to say it, like when it popped up saying an hour and 50 minutes, I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
because with that coupled in with like, um, what is it, commercials on Tubi, an hour and 50-minute movie is like 2 hours and a half long,
Yep.
basically. And I had to actually watch the movie in two successions. I had to watch like the first uh 50 minutes and then come back and finish the last hour,
Yeah.
because it was just like, it's sort of it's funny we get into this like world where we can binge watch like TV, but we're don't like watching an hour and a half, I mean, like 2 hour long movies, and I think it's because when you binge watch it, you're just sort of, you're like the first, episode, you're like, oh my God, this is great. Moving on to the next one, right? Because it's short,
Yep.
it's only maybe 40 minutes to an hour, right? So you're like, oh, that's great, right? Well, and so I can do that. If
Yep.
movies like went into that pace, where the hour and 50 minutes just flies by like that, then, and maybe some people it does for this film. I think there was some moments where I was a little bored, a little slow moments. So those might be, but I think those are still points where you need to have it, like you still need to have those.
Agreed. Um,
Um, no,
it,
go ahead.
it took me, I enjoyed the movie the second time a little bit more, but the first time, I mean, it took me a while to like get into it because then my brain would be like, oh, I got to do this. So I would like, okay, I can pause it or just leave it, and then I have to go back and rewatch it. So yeah, no, I agree. There were moments where it could have been,
Hmm. A
yeah,
little tighter.
yes.
Um, my my thing is I will lay down in my bed and watch my
Oh,
on my 4K television.
that's
And
dangerous.
it is dangerous, because a lot of times I'm an old man, like you said.
Yeah,
I start falling asleep, man. And I'm just like,
come
I can't help it.
come
Um,
7, 8 o'clock at night, I'm like, all right, let's go to bed. Yeah,
yeah, which sucks because like tonight I'm gonna watch Terrifier 2 just to get ready
yeah.
for Terrifier 3.
I
And I mean, you're excited about that, right?
yeah, I'm going to see three, and showtime's at 8 o'clock.
That's right. That's why we had to do this a little
Yeah,
earlier than whenever, because you wanted to catch the
yep.
show to the movie today.
I am so
My
geeked to see
friends
this movie.
my friend is was just messaged me the other day and was like, do you want to see Terrifier 3 at Regal tomorrow, on Friday? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah,
I
there's a
knew I
bear
was gonna
shit in the
see it,
woods.
but it's more fun to see it with somebody,
Yep.
or whatever.
I
Um,
I'm going with somebody who doesn't do horror movies.
oh God.
So I am hoping they throw up.
Well, I was telling my friend she's pregnant, and I was telling my friend that normally I would go with her,
Yeah.
but because we went to see Joker too, the other day.
Oh,
But
I've seen that.
I
Yeah.
was like, she is a horror person. She loves horror, but I still said I don't think you're. I mean, she is like very close to popping,
Oh,
and everything. So like this would be a bad idea once you're, like we might have that little, like
that would be
little
awesome.
baby
She
coming
gave
out.
birth right
Get,
through, right in Terrifier 3.
she'll be telling your child will be like, "Mommy, where was I? Where was I born?"
I mean, I still tell my daughter, my daughter's going to be 13, and I still tell people to this day, she was maybe 3 or 4 months old, and I remember bottle feeding her, watching Human Centipede 2.
Oh God.
Just and,
No, I can't get through that movie. I
see,
could
I
never
love the
finish
second
it.
one.
No,
The third one was like, eh. The
I
second
didn't
one to me
watch.
is awesome.
I did get to see that guy at a horror convention,
Yeah,
Dieter Laser or whatever his name is, and he dressed up like the
Martin.
doctor,
Okay.
and and he just hung out outside watching people. It was fortunately he's no longer with us, which is sad.
Yeah.
But like I'll always remember that guy just standing out there
Just
with his coat on, his like white coat on, just staring, you
just
know.
creeping on people. That is
I
awesome.
know. And like I don't know if he was just being in
Character.
character for the horror convention, it's Texas Frightmare, but like I just remember going, okay, what the hell, man? I mean, I already didn't like the movie, but like that even made it even weirder.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I love it now that in remembering that stuff. It's like that in my story of meeting Angus Scrimm and
Oh,
not really knowing who he was at the
yeah.
time, just knowing he was the tall man, but like I
Yep.
I was not aware of what the tall man was, or I didn't watch
Ah,
Prophecy. So my friend wanted a picture with him while he was walking in the hotel, and then my friend sort of asked me if I wanted one, and I said no, I didn't want to get one because I didn't really know who he was, and I felt like if I did that, if I just got a picture, like a free picture with him, I would sort of just, like it wouldn't. And then years later, I watched like Subspecies and a bunch of other movies, The Prophecy, other things, and I was
yeah.
like, man, I'm kicking myself because he passed. I
Yeah.
didn't think of him like that. He was one day gonna pass, like before I got a chance to do, take pictures with him. So, anywho,
Yeah.
that is way off topic, but so Jessica was the only actress I knew from the movie, but
Okay.
I knew an actor that's in the movie, and it was kind of funny because he played a newscaster, and he played Edward R. and Young. It was Jung. You know, his real name
Okay.
is Edward X Young, and that's Young. And they just called him like Edward R Young, And so I was like, wait, is that Edward X Young? Like, or are they making fun of like that guy's name or something? Because they're all New York people. So all the people up in like Buffalo and New York and stuff
Yeah.
like that, they all know each other. And so they said that, and he goes, and then I looked in the credits at the end and it was him. So I was like, and it just was like newscaster one, or whatever,
Yeah.
which I was kind of disappointed that they gave him a name in the movie. They said, back to you, Edward, and, or whatever. So it's kind of funny. Um, I liked him in I liked everybody in the movie. I thought all the actors did, a great job. Like there was nobody, and it was it was so tongue in cheek. Like my favorite bit was the guy was mentioning this is like Zombie Ate My Neighbors,
Yeah.
and I actually did a podcast on the movie Chud 2, and
Okay.
I said Chud 2 is the closest to Zombies Ate My Neighbors will ever get as a movie.
Yeah.
That's why I love it. A lot of people hate that movie. Um, and in fact, my co-host for Indie Film Cafe absolutely hated it. Right?
I love the
Thought
first one. The second one now.
I love the second one more than the first one. I like the
Really?
first one too, but I like
Yeah.
for the longest time, my co-host thought I didn't like Chud 1.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm trying to explain to you. I like Chud 1, but I like Chud 2 better. Like I
Hmm.
think it's not Chud, It
Yeah.
should not have been called Chud.
No, it
Uh,
shouldn't have been.
it should not. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
But if you look at it like this is not Chud, it's a fun zombie movie. It's just zombies ate my neighbors. And this movie sort of is trying to have that, but I would have, if you're going to do zombies ate my neighbors, you're going to do it about, people in the neighborhood and stuff like that banding
Yeah.
together to help stop the zombie apocalypse. So, I don't think it was that, but it was kind of funny to mention that. It they had the survival guide. He was reading that survival guide, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And because that's what dorks would do, right? That they
Hmm.
why did he have that in his pocket other than to be a joke? Like, like he had that, he pulled that out like of his ass,
Yeah.
basically. He's like, here, I got this book that, and I'm like, you carry that around at all times, like I doubt even nerds do that. like because they
Yeah.
don't actually think a real zombie. Uh, there was that one chick that was like, "What's a zombie?" And I was like, "Really?"
Yeah.
I mean, I think even dumb characters know what a zombie is, you
I,
know?
I think we should all just walk around with a how to survive a horror movie book in our back pocket all the time. You
That
never know when shit's gonna happen.
I actually at this rate, all we need right now is a zombie apocalypse
No
because
kidding.
we already got people like, threatening like civil war and everything. Could you imagine
Yep.
if the government was just like, fuck it, release the zombies?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we had that bath salt incident maybe 5 years
Right.
ago where somebody ate some people's
Do you
faces
think that
off.
was
So
real? Do you think that was real? Like,
I think so.
I don't
I,
know.
I think so. I mean, I
Unfortunately,
saw the dude's face afterwards, and it was pretty fucked up.
they made a few bath salt zombie
Yeah.
movies or whatever. One was god awful. The other one was like okay. And I just, like it's funny because there's so many movies, horror films out there right now. Um,
Yeah.
some are good, some are pretty pretty not good,
Yeah.
indie wise because, they don't have they have a great idea but not a big budget and
Yep.
stuff. And you can feel me on that
Oh
because
yeah.
a
I
lot.
I always try to find something positive about every independent movie,
Mhm.
even if it's the worst movie I've ever seen.
I
I
I
always try to find something positive about it because I know how hard that shit is.
I know how hard it is, but I'm also know how easy it is to write a good script. And you might not have the best actors, but you can work around that,
Yeah.
what I can't forgive is like a really terrible script and ideas and dialogue that just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then people go, oh, this is good. Like, there's a filmmaker that has movies where people just walk most of the time. That's all, with music on in the background while they're walking, just
Yeah.
to pad time out.
Yep.
And they'll have like three or four scenes of that. And I'm like, this isn't a movie, man. They're just literally stretching the time.
Yep.
It would probably be like 40 minutes long had they not stretched out like 20 minutes of walking, and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. And so I can't I can't even say nice things about movies like that. Like where
I get it.
you need more shit. You need more
Yeah.
story. You need more script. And I like if you can't do something, and I might be harsh because I am a filmmaker too and whatnot. And I know how hard it is to to make a movie, period, to put a movie out,
Yeah.
but like nowadays it seems easy to put it out. You know how many crappy movies are on Tubi? I mean, this movie is actually pretty decent compared to a lot of the films that are out there, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I got on a like a found footage kick, and
hmm
there's some bad ones.
hmm
There's so yeah, I agree. This one was better than it was better than I was expecting. I will say that. Especially after the first 30 seconds of tit shot here and let's bathe, let's take a little shower. So I will say that.
yeah, I mean, there's some good like dialogue.
Yep,
It's funny at times.
correct.
There are times
I
where
mean,
it wasn't
I
funny. They
love
were trying to
I
be
love the
funny.
band scene. I did. I loved when they were performing and the dude on the flute. I just fucking when he
You're
pulled
having
the flute
fun.
out, I lost it. I that was probably my one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed there was an old man at the bar that's like hidden on the lady saying, I got Viagra, I got Cialis, I'm
Yeah,
ready, right? For to have sex with you women, or whatever.
yep,
And I was like, good God. I mean, and they're just kind of looking at him like, okay, old man,
yep.
whatever. Let's go listen to the band play,
I
right?
I did enjoy the birth of the zombie baby, like we were
Yep.
talking earlier. So yeah, there was some good moments in this movie.
I just feel like Um, and once again, it's the guy's directorial debut, so
Yeah,
I'm always gonna be never giving anybody crap about that. I'm sad that this is his only one so far, and he hasn't
I think
directed
he
anything else.
he should make a sequel.
Maybe not a sequel, because I mean, like, what are you gonna do? It's gonna be more like you'd have to
Yeah,
do like the whole idea of the movie itself was that this woman was using them. I thought it was gonna be sex trafficking. That's what I thought this whole plan was.
it could have been.
That I know. I thought that was happening because but then she showed up and was with them, and I was like, it's a little strange. Who invites Girl Scouts into their house?
I My daughter did it, and
Did anybody ever invite her in? That is creepy.
no,
Don't go. Tell your daughter if somebody says, "Sure, come on in. I'll buy some from you." No. Uh-uh.
no, yeah, no,
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 we
thank
watch enough
you.
horror films. No. Um it was kind of funny on that, like just inviting them in, and of course like this was like right after the one guy was like, we gotta go get laid, like for real, not virtually laid,
Yeah,
or whatever. And so um and then he was talking about the um the stewardess, and I would have preferred if they hadn't shown Jessica uh during the flashes of the what is it of the airplane stuff, when he's talking about, oh, I had this crush on this airplane stewardess, and there looked like there was some a connection, or whatever, this was real to me, that kind of stuff. Then they used her face, and I was kind of upset about that because it would have been better had we not known that that was who he was talking about, you know?
yeah,
Like if we didn't even see the flash of anybody, and he's just saying, I saw this stewardess and blah blah blah, and the guy's like, whatever, we were talking about real people, and not your dream women, and stuff like that. It's like, she is a real woman, but we never saw her, so we don't
right.
know, right? Then we hear she's a stewardess, and that makes the connection, and that would have been a better scene, in my
Yep.
opinion. I think that would have, um honestly, that would have helped
Yeah,
the movie a
I
little bit.
agree.
But yeah, I mean, Eric chose a different way, and I
Yeah,
can't. It's like me being mad at the director of Joker for going the route he did. No, that was his choice. It was his movie. I may not have agreed with it, and I still liked the movie, but the ending sucked, in my opinion. But I have a whole review that I did with my buddy John Ward about that. So you
nice. I'll have to
anybody
check
wants
it
to see
out.
that, yeah.
I
Um, what
It was
you
interesting.
so
I
you saw it?
I I did. I saw it opening night. I went in with low expectations. I liked the first one, but the second one I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, let's give it a shot. I was cool with the musical wasn't the issue.
Well, it wasn't really like a full-on musical. Like
N-
not everybody was singing, and it was
True,
really all in just in his head. But
but it didn't pull me out or nothing like that. And the ending didn't even ruin it. It's just something felt flat with it. And I don't know what it's
what it
I still
was
don't know what it is because I've only seen it once and I'll probably wait till watch it again on streaming. But
on like Max, because I guarantee it'll be up there. It was, like I said, it wasn't a bad movie. It was really well written, really well directed, really
yeah,
well acted. I love Lady Gaga, all that
yeah,
stuff. But I just, that movie.
I I think it was his way of saying fuck you to DC. I
That's
don't.
You got to listen to my review then, because that's exactly what
Okay,
I said. I said
okay,
it was his fu to everybody because they told him he had to make a sequel,
yep,
and he knew
yeah,
if he didn't make the sequel, somebody else was going to make the sequel, and
yep,
it was going to be not what he wanted. And he was like,
yep,
you know, let me just fuck this all
yeah.
up for everybody.
I'll definitely check out your review because yeah, that's exactly how I felt. It's
It's just funny. I mean, independent filmmakers don't get that chance because they don't. I mean, you're lucky if you get a sequel of your indie film. And I always tell
Yeah.
people, here's the thing. Here's the thing nowadays. If you want a sequel, if you want this movie to be so good that it's going to get a sequel, already make three movies. Like plan three movies ahead of time. Investors will love that because
Yep.
they'll get a piece of each movie that you do. So when you go up and you go up to an investor, hi, I'm Shane Michaels. I'm looking for an investor. And they said, what do you got for me? You say, okay, I've got one a series of three, like a trilogy of three movies here, and more can be made later if the three do well, right? And
Yep.
then, I mean, because when a distributor, especially low budget independent distributor, puts out a movie, they don't, they look at that film and they say, it's, they look at that film and they go, uh, can this, like this is going to still make money, right? Like if I put it out on Walmart, you know, right, as a DVD, people are still going to watch it,
Yep.
even if it's or buy it, even if it says part two of a movie
Yep.
or something, they're still going to buy it. So even if they haven't seen the first one, people are like, ooh, new horror film. Let me check this out you know. Um, Me, I'm a little different. I really am picky about that shit. I want to have if I have something in a collection, I want to have the first and and all
Yep.
that stuff. I don't like buying the sequel before I buy the first one, but there are people who just do that because they want to buy every horror film that comes out,
Yep.
and that's the
I got another
beautiful
cat
thing.
probably trying to get in.
What?
I got another cat coming
Uh,
in.
okay. He's gonna come hang out with you. Okay,
Yep. Come hang
you,
out with me.
yeah, you got kitties here.
Yeah,
Uh,
I got one on my shoulder and one just crawled up next to me. So
my dog smells food downstairs, so he's
no,
he's,
yeah,
he's
that
left
dog's not
me.
going anywhere near you.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not coming back up here. Well, he has nothing to do up here, and everything. So if there's something else going on, he's more interested in me. But there's the cat right there.
Yep.
That's so funny. He's putting his head there. He's like,
Yep.
hey, I want to be on the screen. That's cute. I love animals. I have a cat too, but
Yeah.
he's an outdoor cat because indoor he just terrorizes everything. Like he gets
Yeah.
bored. He's like, I don't want to be here. I want to be outside. And
Yeah, we have four cats. So
wow.
we saved two, we rescued two, and then two we got it like little small kittens. They were basically different litters, but like very similar in age. So they kind of grew up brother or sisters, and then we rescued two, and then I was like, no more,
Yep, you're
no
done.
more. So
It's kind of like having a baby, I guess. After a
yeah,
while, you're like, nope, I'm done.
yep,
Can't afford it anymore. Basically. And that's
yep,
that's the thing. I mean, nowadays, I mean, there's so many cats and stuff out there. But anyway, I once again to go back to this movie, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I do recommend it to people who haven't
yeah,
seen it. I never not recommend a indie flick. I always say go watch it, even if I don't like it. That doesn't necessarily mean you won't like it. And
correct.
I've actually dealt with that where I have had a review of a person's movie, and the person unfriended me because he didn't like it because everybody else pretty much had told him it was a great movie, you know? And that's wonderful. But me and my friend, it wasn't our style, you
Yeah,
know? That's not saying that, and we said in the review that we still respect everything, but we just don't it just wasn't our style of film and
yep,
everything. And some people get a little hurt by that stuff.
yeah. This business will eat you up.
I know I think I don't know if that is exactly, but I know Jessica left, as I said, she retired in 2016. Uh I think because she just didn't like the way she was treated in the industry. And so she said she
Yeah,
just doesn't like the industry. And I sort of don't blame her, but in the same sense, I'm like, we're really missing out on somebody who's really talented, and that kind of sucks. So I always want to tell like filmmakers just like be nicer to your talent.
yeah,
Especially if you're not paying them a lot of money.
cor-
You know,
correct.
if you're not paying them at all, definitely like treat them like it's
They're
a princess,
they're
you know.
they're doing the filmmaker a service by showing up, believing in this project. The best you can do is treat them like a human being.
Exactly. And that's the
Yeah,
easiest thing to do too. I mean,
correct.
it's
I
not
always said there was a lot of projects back in the day, and I still don't like paying people because I don't like forking out money. But um, I always any short shoot we did, it was like guaranteed we were always going to take care of you, give you if we need to get a certain type of food, we'll get the food for you, we'll feed you, we'll take care of you at least when you're on sets,
hmm.
and just and yeah,
Yeah, that's what we do for our stuff. If we're not paying you, you're at least getting a full meal, you know,
correct.
and shit
It's
like
not
that.
just pizza. It's a legit. We're
Yeah,
gonna have food.
one of my actresses, she was on this 31 Days of Indie Horror, but like after, you know, we had worked together on a project, and we were talking about that. We were talking about the fact that, you know, feeding the people, you know, if you don't, whatever. And she was like, you know, I love that you guys had like all these snacks and everything, just, you know, there, but I'm sorry that nobody ate it. And I was
Yeah,
like, yeah, well, I mean, they were there if anybody wanted them, but and then I ended up taking up most of the stuff, you know, whatever,
yeah,
keeping most of the stuff. But it was, you know, one of those things where you know, we're just happy to have it.
yeah,
And if people don't want to eat, you know, that, then that's their, you know, if people would rather eat the pizza, which I think pizza's supposed to be bad for films. And the reason is because it's a carbohydrate.
yep,
And when you eat your carbs, it makes you tired.
yep,
So it makes you more tired. So if you, especially if you have a long night, the um you know, you got to eat stuff that's like less carbs and
yeah.
whatever. And so one night for one of our projects we had Rocco Smokehouse stuff. So we had
Okay,
sandwiches and pulled pork and different things for people because, you know, we had the money to do good catering. And that's our thing. Like if we can afford like, you know, saying $100 or $200 for catering each day, that'll be great because
yep,
then, you know, people will be fed and they'll be happy and there probably hopefully won't be any problems on set, you know. And there's still gonna be problems no matter what, but like hopefully they're happier, you know, because
yeah,
they've had food in their bellies. You know. So anyway,
yeah.
I
I,
truly what?
I think one of my last shoots was a 16-hour day.
Oh Jesus.
It was long.
That sounds
Um, and we catered in. I brought in. We had a lady um who I met going to school. Actually, she was going to school for catering. And so I was like, well, if I give you certain amount of money, can you come in and cater 2 meals for us?
mm,
And we had probably the best catering we've had. I mean, no pizza. We had like actors had access to salads.
mm-hmm.
It was great. I would recommend just trying to find someone to say, "Hey, this is what I've got. Can we let's do this?"
Yep,
Because you got to feed your actors. You definitely
absolutely.
do, and
Well,
your crew.
and your crew,
Yeah,
your cast and crew gotta be fed and happy.
yep,
Um, I remember being on sets for like certain movies and stuff. Like when I was in Hollywood doing the Lifetime movies and stuff, the crew went first, you know, because they got a job to get back to before the actors,
yeah,
you know, and stuff. So the crew would go first, and then the main cast will go because they got to get back to their trailers and whatnot, and then the extras and people were last, and it's fun because they always have enough food for everybody, you know.
Yep.
But I do remember hearing Sylvester Stallone mention that there, I think it was during like the Expendables, like behind the scenes or whatever documentary, and he was talking about how he was on set of a movie before he did Rocky, before he was even anybody,
Hmm.
was an extra, and the first AD was saying, "All right, everybody, we can get ready to eat, except that guy right there because he's leaving and whatever, right?" And he was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Like I can't eat. Like this is not right. That kind of thing." So he had always sworn to himself that like everybody will get to eat,
Yeah.
no matter what, no matter how much time or how much they put into the movie.
Yep.
If they're an extra, they still get this. They get treated the same kind of thing. So I thought that was really wonderful to hear. Because I think that there are people in the industry that'll be like rude like that, and everything. So, as long as I'm hoping that I'm sure the women and the cast and crew in this film got fed pretty well. I mean, I hope so.
Yeah.
I do hear some stories where they don't, where they don't
Yeah.
get fed and whatnot. Or they have really bad, like the Room, the movie The Room. They Yeah, I don't know if you ever saw the Disaster Artist and
I
everything.
have. Yeah.
And I've read the book, which
Okay.
I could not put down. That book is so amazing. I got to meet the writer, Greg Sestero, and he's just awesome. But
Nice.
I watched the movie Disaster Artist, and they got the book well because like that happened in the book where everybody was like dying and there was no food or no
Oof.
water and all this other shit. And that movie was made for like over $1 million, like
Yeah.
millions of dollars he was putting into it.
I
And
want to know who funded it.
everybody wants to know who funded it. That is something that's probably going to get buried with
Yeah.
but somebody said that they believe that uh Tommy Wiseau just had a birthday and is now 69 years old. Now, that's been a big thing of him not telling his age or whatever. But I'm hoping he's like more cool with it now because who cares?
Yeah.
Right? Like back then maybe people cared, like, when he was making a movie
Yeah.
20 years ago. But even then, like 69, that would have been 49 years old, I guess. Yeah, because I think didn't it get made in 2004? Yeah,
Really?
2004 or 5. Yeah, so that movie's almost 20 years old.
That's great. Do you classify that as the worst movie?
No, no, not
Yeah,
by
me
far.
neither.
I
Yeah.
Here it is. It's a bad movie, no doubt.
Yes,
Like it's a terrible movie,
it
but
is.
it's not the worst movie. And
No.
Birdemic is not the worst movie, and none of Neil Breen's movies are the worst movies. The worst movies are the movies nobody wants to talk about. These are the movies like nobody that either is really really boring, or whatever, or they just really just didn't care about anything. They didn't care
Yeah.
about the script, they didn't care about the actors, they didn't care about anything. They just let people go up there and do, and there are a couple of filmmakers I would say are the worst filmmakers. I won't say them out loud because it's kind of rude, and stuff like that. But I will say that The Room is not the worst film of all time. Now, the problem is he sort of knew after how bad it went that he became like, and that to me is bad. When
Yeah.
somebody finds out that they've made bad films, they're gonna try to continue to make bad films. The guy Birdemic, made Birdemic 2, and um it wasn't worse than the movie, but it wasn't. It's like he should have learned to be better,
Yeah.
but instead he just doubled down on the badness on purpose. Um, so yeah, this movie is not anywhere close to the
Oh
worst
no.
movie. Um,
Oh no.
The Room isn't the worst movie. It's just a bad movie. Troll 2, is bad. It's not the worst movie. I mean, like I said, I think the worst movie are the movies that are just boring and nobody
Yeah.
wants to talk about them. Nobody wants to watch them. You will probably shut it off if you saw it on
Hmm.
Tubi, you know. There's a filmmaker out there called BC14. Love him to death. He's made some good movies before he decided that 2020 shut everything down, started making animation movies sort of thing, and they're just terrible. Like, but are they the worst movies of all time? No, they're just bad. They're just
Yeah.
terrible. Um, I yeah, I'll maybe I'll mention it to you afterwards, but there's a filmmaker who is on the top of my, worst filmmaker of all time list. And it's just because also the biggest thing is when you get to constantly make movies and then people tell you this was terrible because of this, this, and this, and you never evolve, you never change, and you keep making the same movie over and over again because you think that's, whatever, then yeah, you're not a good filmmaker, and you're
Yeah.
probably the worst, in my opinion. But maybe there's even worse. Everybody says Uwe Boll is the worst.
Yeah.
I think he makes entertainingly bad movies, but I don't think he's the worst.
He made House of the Dead, right?
Yeah, pretty bad. I
Yeah.
mean, it's pretty damn bad, but Alone in the Dark, pretty damn bad, you
Yeah.
know. But these uh they're not the worst.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I think Paul hasn't shown me the worst yet. He knows who the worst are. He finds these movies and stuff, and they're filmmakers you probably haven't even heard of that are like the worst,
Yeah.
worse than the popular ones. That because everybody knows Tommy Wiseau. Everybody knows. I'm sure you've heard of Neil Breen. You
Yep.
know, everybody knows the movie Birdemic. I don't even know the guy's director's name,
Yeah, I don't either.
but
Yeah, everybody knows Troll 2.
everybody knows.
Everybody, yeah, all these everybody knows all these. I mean,
Yep,
Dollhouse, Amityville. That was pretty bad, I think. I remember.
Amityville Dollhouse.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's the Polonia movies or whatever. Polonia, Mark Polonia, I love him to death, but I think a lot of times he just makes movies, like he doesn't
Yeah.
and I love him and I think he's made some fun movies. But then he's also made movies where I can tell there was just maybe a paycheck for him, which might not have been a huge paycheck, but it was something. And he was just like, I'm gonna go make you know, this I'm gonna make the movie with my friends and whatnot. And if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it doesn't matter because I'll just make another one, you know. And I think honestly, that gets to be a pretty bad thing, when people are like Ed would have loved to live in this time period, I think.
Oh yeah.
Like, could you imagine the creativity? And he was a transvestite, so he would have loved, loved like the world we live in right now. Because
Oh
back
yeah.
then, people were like weirded out by that, but like now, everybody's so accepting of it, and it's so normal that it's like he would not stick out. Really, he'd just be like one of the other, but he would be directing movies as a transvestite, and it would be
Yeah.
awesome, and
It
people
would
would
be.
love it. I mean, people would be taking pictures and telling everybody you should check out this director. He's blah blah blah. So I love that. Sadly, he didn't make movies in this time period. He died in the 80s, so I think
Yeah.
1980. So it's sad, and I just wish, you know, um, filmmakers, like that would have gotten a chance because I think Conrad Brooks had so much fun before he passed making these little really bad movies. But were they the worst? No, I
No.
really literally think the worst films haven't even been made yet necessarily.
Yeah.
You know, because then there's somebody who's gonna find something that's worse than the next one, right? And stuff like that. But I will challenge you, watch a movie on Tubi called Hip Hop Locos. If you can watch the
Hip
whole thing, I'll be surprised.
hip hop what?
Locos.
Locos. Hip hop locos.
Yeah. So Locos, like Locos. So
I'm gonna look it up right now.
it is hard to watch.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it is hard to watch, and
All right. Let's
it'll drive you nuts. There's another filmmaker who made a movie called Miss Werewolf that is not available. You have to buy it from the director.
okay.
But it is pretty bad. Is it the worst? It's up there as a really bad, like close, right? Like I'll give you an example. There's a scene where the director is the actor in the movie, right? He's acting in the movie and he's doing a scene and this random person walks up to him while they're shooting the movie and starts asking him about the movie. Now, generally speaking, as a filmmaker, you cut that and you put that out of the
Uh-huh.
movie, right? Completely. No, he left it in the movie. So there's a scene where he's breaking character and he's talking about the movie to the guy, right,
That-
as
That's
himself. And it's like, oh, I'm
awesome.
making this movie. It's a monster movie. It's called Miss Werewolf, blah blah blah, right? And and he put the movie in there. He put that guy in there, and the guy probably doesn't even know he's in that movie. Hillary Clinton. He took a video of Hillary Clinton doing something, and then put her in the credits. Hillary Clinton as
Nice.
herself. And she probably had no idea he could, you know, did that. So I don't know. It's insane.
It's
But
called Hip Hop Locos.
the one, yeah, that movie's the really really bad one is Bob Locos. The other one I was just mentioning is Miss Werewolf. So if you can
Oh, I
find
just
that
found
ever.
it.
What?
Hip Hop
Yep. Oh
Locos.
yeah, it's on Tubi.
Okay.
Yeah, so I dare you to watch that. I mean, at some
Okay.
point, and let me know if you could even get through it, because like
Okay.
it is one of the worst films. But we did it for Indie Film Cafe and reviewed it, and it's
Okay.
just like I don't
It,
know. My friend just
it's
likes
only
to torture
72
me.
minutes.
You say that. You say that like it's easy. You know,
Okay.
you ever watched a movie and you're like, oh, 72 minutes. Oh, this is
Yeah.
gonna be this is gonna be a breeze. And then
And
you
then you're
start
like,
watching it and you're like,
fuck,
God,
that's 72 minutes. I needed that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, you're like, oh man, how long has it been? 2 minutes? Oh, got 70 minutes left of this. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah, it's bad. Yeah.
Okay.
So you'll either thank me or you'll hate me. Yeah. You'll thank me for introducing you to one of the worst movies of all time. Because that is one of
Nice.
probably, I would say probably one of the worst movies of all time.
Okay. I
Uh,
will.
but it's really hard. There's a guy I'm no longer friends with, but there was a guy online that would constantly ask that question about like, what's the worst movie,
Yeah.
right? And everybody would say all these movies that were just as simple, The Room, Birdemic, whatever, and we've never been and then I said Hip Hop Locos, and I don't think he ever watched it, you know. All right, well, I think that's about wraps it up. Thank
All
you so
right.
much, Shane. I'm excited for you to go see Terrifier 3. Do not tell me like even if you liked it. Like
I'll
personally, I'll probably try to avoid your page because if you say something, whatever, I want to go in there completely blind.
awesome.
And I did hear people already throwing up and shit.
That
Or
is
like somebody like threw like whatever and then fell and hurt themselves like in the theater. That makes me excited. More
I
more
hope it's just not marketing. I hope legit people are throwing
well,
up.
at least they did the same thing and they said the same thing in Terrifier 2. So
Correct.
I
And
don't
I
know.
don't
I
think
haven't
Terrifier 2 I
well,
think Terrifier 1 was a little bit more graphic than 2.
really? Yeah, because they have the greatest fucking kill I've ever seen in a movie. I don't know if he's ever been able to top the
What one?
Catherine Corcoran's death in the first movie, the blonde
Oh
girl
yeah.
that's like
The
slit.
Saw? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the best death I've ever
Yes.
seen in a movie, and I don't know if Terrifier 2 had a better death than that.
No.
I
I personally don't think so. I mean, you
okay,
could say that you haven't watched it yet,
yeah, I
right?
haven't watched it yet, so
Okay. There's
uh,
one scene I guess that could be up there with it, but no, that's that scene in number 1 is iconic to me.
All right. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see
Yeah,
part three. It's a Christmas movie, which I'm kind of sad that they put that out in Halloween, and at least didn't put it out in November, where
yeah.
it's sort of in between Halloween and Christmas, but
They
I'm still excited to see it, period,
they
you
should
know.
have put it out Christmas Eve.
Uh, the problem is they would have been putting it out like right at the same time Nosferatu's coming out.
Oh,
That's
that's
not
true.
yeah, not a good not
Yeah,
that movie's gonna kill it this
I
year.
hope so. I
I
hope
hope
it
so
gets.
too because I love Robert Eggers and I
Yep,
think
same here.
he's very talented. So
Yeah,
I
and this
I
is
I
supposedly his dream project.
I know. So all of that just got me excited because then the Northman was good.
Yeah.
But he's done better, and I think he does better with horror,
Yes.
and I think if like he got this job, so I'm excited. But yeah, I think they should have done it in November when like maybe the movies like the Craven or something was coming out or whatever. Like the superhero movies come out around then. And
Yep.
then so it would be, you would get something else other than a superhero movie for the horror fans because not a lot of horror fans like superhero movies, not
I
all of them do.
I expect this to be number one at the box office this week.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because there really isn't much competition right now.
No,
So I'm excited to see if I'm wondering, is Deadpool and Wolverine still in the theater though?
it is here.
Oh my
Yes.
jeez. Oh,
Yeah.
oh my God. Are they like they need to put that on Disney Plus,
It,
already.
it's streaming now because I have it on Vudu.
Oh, okay. I
Have
need
you
to buy
seen
it on 4K when it comes out.
have you seen The Substance?
Not yet. I That's on my list. I don't know if
Okay.
you saw my huge list of movies I need to watch by the end of the year. And
Yeah.
I'm well on my way. I started watching like a movie a day right now this whole week.
Nice.
So I need to watch Terrifier 2, which is not 2024, and then I think I'm gonna watch Longlegs tonight,
I
if I can. So,
I
um,
personally Longlegs is my favorite movie of the year.
right. My brother
I
just watched it and said he liked it, but he didn't love it as much as I think he was hoping he was going to.
okay.
And then Jackie, my former roommate, Jackie Hall, she
Yeah.
said she thought it was just too weird and wacky and just
It
not her.
it definitely is weird and wacky and I loved it.
I know it wasn't her kind of movie, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I might like it, I might not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I have a prediction I will, you know. Actually, real quick, before we end, I have a list of my uh like basically my prediction of my top 10,
Okay.
for this year. So Longlegs would be number one. Number two would be Blink Twice. Number three is The Substance. And
Hmm.
these are things that so Blink Twice I have seen. And I really really liked.
I have not seen that yet. I want to.
The Substance, Strange Darling. I've heard really
I
good
haven't
things
seen
about
that
that.
one.
Terrifier 3. Abigail, which I absolutely loved.
Yeah, I was
Immaculate.
disappointed with that one.
Immaculate, which I haven't seen yet, but I've heard really, really good things. Maxine, I loved. I had a blast with that movie. Azrael, which I've heard really, really good things about that. And then Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah.
That's my top 10. I have not put Nosferatu on there. I probably should. That's probably going to be up
You should
there
check
as
out Oddity.
Oddity. I've heard really good things, so
Yeah.
that might be on my top. I'm doing a top 10 later
Okay.
this year at the end of the year with my friend Sky. We're gonna do like the top 10 horror films of all time, and then the of not all time, but of this year, and then
Yeah.
top 10 worst
Okay.
horror films of this year. Already, I think In a Violent Nature is going on that list of worst.
I'm the worst.
Yeah, I just was so bored. It was
You know,
absolutely boring to me.
that was 90 minutes of walking.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was that's how Dante explained Lord of the Rings
yeah,
and Clerks too.
yeah. The guy was like, "Well, let's make a horror version of that."
Yeah.
I was even explaining to my brother today that there's that scene in the like where like literally nothing. These people are talking. We can't see them, and we can see
Yeah.
like I guess just the ground, and it's
Hmm.
supposed to be like the POV of the killer, I guess. But like he gets resurrected from these guys talking, but we don't see anything.
Yeah.
And we're just like, I'm like, for 10 minutes in the
Yep.
opening.
Yeah.
I'm like, if people are telling me I should have been in the theater, I would have walked out of the theater. I
have
would have just, I mean, God.
Have you ever played? My daughter was a big fan of the Friday the 13th game.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Like I
Yes, it
never,
was
yeah, because it's literally, isn't it? We're just walking around until you find a
correct.
camper to kill, then you kill them,
Yep.
And I
That
was
is
just like,
basically they took that concept and turned it into a movie.
I think that's
That's
literally what they did. But like,
it.
so
Yeah.
I think it was a couple of stoners getting stoned, and they're like,
I can't believe they're
what
making a
would be
sequel.
what would be so great is if like we watched Jason and we saw like his life when he wasn't doing anything. Like he wasn't killing people. He wasn't, he's just walking around. Like there's
Just
one
walking
part
around.
where like this guy comes outside and he's just walking around the back and we're following him walk around the back and I'm just like, why am I watching this? Why is this happening? And then later he goes into the water like this and nobody notices, by the way, that woman who's like right across from him doesn't see this random dude getting into the
Just
water. But he
walk in
gets
the
in the
water.
water, walking in the water, walks through it. And then we see for like, I swear to God, it felt like 5 minutes of like, of just the water of him
Yep.
walking. And I thought, okay, he's gonna like come up for air for a second and then
Nope.
go back down. Nope. And then I guess the idea is that he wasn't going up for air at all. That's the idea. Then we cut to the girls, the two bisexual lesbian girls or
Yep.
whatever, and them talking and hitting on each other, chatting with each other, blah blah blah. And then one girl leaves and everything, and I'm just like, wait a minute, we're out of like the POV section. So anyway, that's my little mini review of An Violent Nature, which I have dubbed now In a Boring Nature.
Yeah.
I do not like that movie, and I kind of sad because it's an independent film. Like it
Yeah.
was, I think it was made for like a very, very low budget.
I
And mm,
I don't
yeah,
think. Yeah, I think it was small.
yeah,
If and I
yeah.
might be even 50K. I think maybe.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
like I don't want to knock people going
No.
out and making a movie like that because then, and getting good theater, like
Yep.
theater play, that's what we want. But
Even got a sequel.
I
I don't know how they're. I mean, it. I think the sequel needs to be something different than
well, it
the
probably
final
it made
was.
its money independently,
Yeah.
but I'm just like, I mean, especially if it was made for 50K and it probably made like at least $1
Oh,
million or something,
correct.
I mean, then it's definitely profited pretty well that they could make a sequel, but like, yeah, I don't want one. Like I don't want one.
I,
I
I
think
enjoyed the first
people
one, but I don't want a sequel. It needed to be just a left alone film. So
yeah. Absolutely. So, anywho, well,
yeah,
thank you, Shane. Thank you so
oh,
much. We talked about everything,
yeah.
including Girl Scout Zombie Massacre. I don't even know if I said the title earlier today.
I
The
don't think we
fucking
did.
well, it's there on my
Yeah,
thing, so hopefully,
yeah.
people got it. But
Go check. Everybody, go check it out
it's a
with their
great
own
movie.
judgment.
It's a great movie.
It
I
is.
liked it.
It's
It's just
a good
um
independent film.
yeah, once again, all I would want is it cut. If they could do another cut of it, and do like a director's cut where just cut it to make it shorter, and whatever, that'd be great. But I don't know where they would cut, so I'd be
Yeah,
bad at that. So please check it out. Join me tomorrow. I'll have another guest, and we'll have another show, and I'm really super super excited about it. I love this 31 days of indie horror. But I got to get this done.
this
I
is
got this is like I think this will be like number 24 or something. Episode 24 or 20. Yeah, something like that.
okay.
And day 24, and I'm like, we're getting close to day
Yeah,
24 already, so I need like I need to start getting these things these
two a
nailed
day.
down.
Bang
Yeah.
them out two a day.
No, I can't, man. I can barely watch one a day. Like
Yeah, I get
it's
it.
just tough, but I have enough time. It'll be good. It'll work
Yeah.
out. All right, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this.
Hey,
Give us a
thank you
follow,
for
let us
having me.
know, and definitely check out Shane's films and everything that he's doing, and everything. Until then, everybody, have a good one. We'll see you soon.
See you
Bye.
guys. Thank you.